So the other day, Xbox Live went down, and obviously that happens on both platforms, but this time it caused major issues that kind of are a red flag for me that expose a pretty significant problem with the Series X and Series S consoles. I'm going to talk to you about it in just a second. I got to do the cool logo hit thing though, right? I love my logo. Thank you, Get Wreck Labs. Anyway, yeah. So Xbox Live went down, and this is going to sort of go back to the C-bomb Xbox issue, where I actually said, hey, I don't think it's that big of an issue. All of Xbox would have to go down. Well, I'm going to kind of eat crow in this video because I actually do think it's easily fixable, and I really, really want to strongly express that Xbox needs to look at this issue. So basically, Tom Warren, my BFF on Twitter lately, or at least the guy that I heart all his tweets because he's the one covering the Epic versus Apple case, he pointed out that there was an issue getting your games to play on your Xbox if you were in the UK. Now, granted, this only lasted for a few hours and Xbox was able to fix it, but it exposes a major problem with their data infrastructure and how you're able to access your games, at least your digital games. I don't know if it worked on physical media or not off the top of my head. Basically, if you lose internet connection, you just can't play your games. At least you couldn't in this instance. And that reminded me of the CMOS CBOM issue. And I'm like, okay, yeah, Xbox, this is still a serious issue. It's a little more serious now that I've seen what would happen if it were to go globally. And I truly hope that they fix it. This seems like such an easy solution. Like, do an initial check, and once it's been checked, just let them play on that console. But there's probably security things that I don't have the inside scoop on that they need to consider before they're able to implement it more widely. So, okay, here it goes. When the error would pop up, it said, the person who bought this needs to sign in. That's the error users were receiving. And when Xbox finally got wind of it and they started talking about what is going on here, they said Microsoft blamed the previous issues on DNS problems, but Thursday's error message suggested there was an authentication problem somewhere preventing some Xbox owners from accessing their digital games. Now, I don't know about you, but if I ever lost access to my entire library of games, even for 2 hours, that would be, well, especially because my main job is tied to playing video games and covering them. This would be a substantial problem that would need to be addressed. So basically, this took place around 1 p.m. Eastern time, and it wasn't corrected until 3:30. So it took them about 2.5 hours to address this issue and clean it up. Xbox support said, if you're unable to browse the Xbox store on your console, the Xbox app or X Guide, please watch for updates. Proper teams are investigating now, and updates will be posted here or at xbox.com/status, where we always go when Xbox Live is down to see what is going on. And then, of course, when it was fixed, they said you should now be able to browse the Xbox store on all platforms, and any previously purchased games or apps should launch as expected. Thank you for the reports. We'll be here and listening. So I'm glad you're listening, Xbox support. And if anybody from Xbox does watch this, I would highly encourage this to be brought up in a public fashion so that gamers can know that it's being addressed and looked at, because it's really, really not a good system if at any time your servers can mess up and lock gamers out of games. Obviously, it's got to be a motivation for them, because that means a major loss of revenue. Like, I can't even imagine what 2 hours of the entire UK side of the world being locked out of their consoles would cost in terms of dollars. It has to be expensive, not only because you have people scrambling to fix that on Red Alert, but you also prevent anybody from buying anything. So, yeah. So Here's what Verge wrapped up their article saying: the rest of Xbox Live or Xbox Network service appeared to be functioning, with Party Chat, LFG, and other parts of Xbox still accessible, while games were not. Xbox Live went down last month, along with an issue with Microsoft Teams. Microsoft blamed the last one, on DNS problems, but this Thursday's error message suggested there was an authentication problem, and that is the quote I read at the top of the story. So it's really, really interesting that this even happened, and I really, really hope that they're able to communicate what's going on and what they're able to do to fix it. So we do know that Sony, for example, is looking into the PS5 and PS4 CMOS CBOM issue that would prevent users from playing games online. Basically, they said they're aware of it and they are investigating the matter, but we haven't heard much beyond that. This was originally brought up by Does It Play, and it is definitely concerning for gamers everywhere because we want to access our games. And this isn't just an Xbox thing, by the way. The PS4 has DRM that wouldn't allow you to play physical or digital games without connecting to Sony servers. And the one caveat there is if your CMOS battery dies, that is when you are locked out of, like, you just can't do anything if that battery dies. So it's a physical piece of hardware that you would need to replace, and then you're able to correct it, basically. And users went so far as to take the battery out just to show that it doesn't work correctly. Can you tell when I'm on a dark website, by the way, because my whole screen gets dark? Anyway, Does It Play even quote tweeted Tom Warren when this issue happened. They said, "This is why having a forced online setup or requiring periodic online activity or checks to play games is absolute clownery. This is what potentially awaits all games on the platform with server obsolescence," by the way. You can't even install a Xbox One disc on a series without a DRM online check to download a tiny configuration file. Only a handful of discs work offline, and even then, the console itself forces you to connect first to even set it up. And in its current state, you need to set the system to home. If you forget, it's gone. So this is a pretty serious issue, and I would really, really love to hear from Xbox about what they are doing about it and what their plan is about it. If I ever get the opportunity, I am certainly going to ask if they are looking at it, and I'll be like, are you aware of the Does It Play conversation? And is there anything that you can do to ease fans' worries that they're going to get locked out of their games should Xbox Live go down? And I think it's a very straightforward and important question that we should be asking when we get the opportunity. Anyway, hey, I have to ask you a question. Do you like these videos where I ramble late at night? Because I really like making them for you, and you have all been so wonderful. If you do, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Maybe you've seen one or two of these and you're like, hey, I'm not subscribed yet. Well, just click that little subscribe button below the video, or click that bell if you want to see whatever the bell thing does. I don't know. Memberships are also turned on YouTube. Memberships are a thing that YouTube offers to content creators where you can support them directly. Thank you to everybody who has joined membership-wise. You're all amazing. I really, really appreciate it so much. Thanks for watching. You know what? I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope we hear about this issue from both companies, and both companies are like, hey, we fixed it. Yay! I'll be waiting for that day. Anyway, I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody. See you soon.